Our first guest today is an award-winning educator, but she's here today in her role as a novelist. We met Teresa B. Howell about a year ago when she published her debut novel, That Church Life. She ended that book with a cliffhanger, and Missy, Michelle, and Natalia are back with their story as it continues in That Church Life Part 2. And a welcome and good morning to you, Teresa. Good to see you.
Good morning. Good to see you as well.
So had you always decided to write a second book, or was this because the readers really just couldn't let these characters go?
It was because of the readers. I had no intention on writing anymore. I stopped with a cliffhanger because I just got tired of writing. But they requested a second book, and now they're requesting a third book, so I'm working on that as well.
So a trilogy when you only wanted to write a single novel.
Exactly.
Well, they always say write what you know. So you set this book in Durham, North Carolina, where you live, and you grew up in the church. So as people read this book who know you, do they maybe see themselves in there a little bit?
They ask. They do ask, are you writing about me? But it's truly fiction. Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Wink.
Yes.
Because anybody who goes to church knows that there are all kinds of characters and personalities, and usually there's a little drama going on. So you just took that and turned it into a book. Had you always wanted to be a writer, or what started you on your road to being a writer?
I was told at an early age that I should write, but I didn't really think about it until this current age. Maybe about 2 years ago, there was some tragedy that happened, and it was a suggestion from my pastor that I should, write for therapeutic reasons, and so that's how I started my journey.
So were you just journaling and writing this down, and you said, hey, maybe I have a book here?
Yeah, that's exactly how it happened. I just woke up one night and said, I could write a story about all of the things I've seen in the church, and so it came into fruition, and there you have it.
So since your background really wasn't as a writer, more of an educator, how did you go about the process of turning that journaling into something that you thought people would want to read?
Well, I'm a great storyteller from what I've been told, so I like to make people laugh, and I knew I could write something that wasn't offensive to the church, but it could also be comical and talk about real life events at the same time. So that was my goal. So it took me over a year to do so, because I don't have any clue about the development of writing, but it worked out.
There are a lot of aspiring writers in our audience who watch, and do you have any tips for them as they maybe want to do this too, take that story that they've told and maybe turn it into a book?
Always do your research. Always do your research. And get with some veteran authors that can really mentor you through the process, because it is a long and tedious process, and you need some help along the way. You can't do it alone.
Right. What about feedback? Because I'm sure people are more than willing to give their opinion about your book, your writing, your characters, whatever. How do you handle that?
Well, it's been a really, really great journey, and I love hearing the feedback. For part 2, I got a review. This girl said, I just want to choke all the characters. I would never go back to this church. So it's kind of comical to hear some of it, but they really enjoy, they're really engaged, and they really want to know more about these characters.
What's it been like out on book tour where you really get the face-to-face feedback from people who have read your book?
Everyone has embraced the book, very loving, very caring family in the lit community. So it's been a great experience.
So for people who don't know the story of these young ladies, you have 3 very strong female characters. One is the daughter of the pastor. She kind of leads the story through. Give us the background of That Church Life 1 and then kind of where the story goes into without giving it all away.
Okay, so Church Life 1, the pastor's daughter, as you said, Missy, she is going through some life changes, trying to figure out where she should really be in the church. Her dad wants her to follow the family legacy, but she's not so sure because she's in love with someone that is the musician who really isn't into the church. He's just there to kind of like get his organ pay, his paycheck. So she goes through a lot of drama. She has these friends that support her and let her know, hey, you need to leave this guy alone and get on with your life. She suffers with anxiety. There's some domestic violence going on with this couple, and she tries to get away by meeting someone new. So she kind of uses this new guy to, help her heal from the last one. And then I can't really give away the ending because it's a huge cliffhanger. But in part 2, the story continues with the friend Michelle, who's the backup musician. And she comes out with some secrets that is very, 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 very cliffhanger-ish.
Well, because there's a third book coming, so you can cliffhanger it.
Yeah. So the pastor's more involved. Missy's biological mother shows up again. So it's very entertaining, and readers seem to really like it.
That's great. So we know you're working on the next book, and then it says that you got a play that you're working on?
Yes. I actually have a play company out of Charlotte that is putting it together. So hopefully by next spring, it should be on the road.
So is it based on these characters, or is something totally new?
Based on these characters.
Oh, so they're really going to come to life.
Yes. Yes.
Well, welcome to Richmond. We know you've got a book signing. We want to tell people about that. Teresa Howell has a book signing that's coming up tomorrow, October 21st, from 1 to 4 at the Barnes & Noble Libby Place. That's just down the street from us on West Broad Street here in Richmond. Thank you so much for coming in. Best of luck with the trilogy and the play that's coming out. Teresa B. Howell here with us today.